So it's useful to have in mind these tricks when you are playing with white and with black to avoid them, because these kind of pushes can serve us to gain very valuable tempi. Speaking also about the h2 pawn, I would say that it's not mobilized because, as we are going to see, it is not necessary to add one more pawn. Also because now the white bishop is going to h5, we don't want to have a pawn there if we are planning to put a piece and for attack there, and because it's not necessary to open that file for the rook, because I'm pretty sure that when Shirov was in this position, the 11th move, already knew that he was going to develop his f1 rook along the f file. Now let's us go with this interesting and menacing move, bishop h5. You may have read, it's a common theory, a motive, probably in Dvoretsky's strategic book, that when we are going to pawn storm, it's useful to have targets. For example, the knight we have expelled here, but also pawn targets from the enemy line that we can use as hooks. That is, in order to not to block the position, aim at specific pawns that we can either remove with other pawns or with piece sacrifices to expose the enemy king. And h5 is precisely aiming at this, is provoking what Anand had to play, the g6, that looks maybe at first like an unnecessary compromising move, but if we analyze carefully, as Anand surely did in this position, is probably the only reasonable move in here. Other things that can first come to our mind, like for example knight f8, just don't participate in creating a good defense, because as we can see in the diagram, the f7 pawn is getting rather clumsy and will be properly exploited by white soon. For example, with the f5 push, and after all we had to finish with some compromising move in black's castling in order to avoid an immediate attack in here. So g6, f takes c6, bishop takes c6. Well, this would be of course answered by this fork. Knight takes c6, knight takes c6, knight d5, and not only we add further attacking pieces, but we are still getting a brutal initiative by making the queen to move out of the c7 square and not having a proper square to relocate and at the same time help in Anand's defense. So allow me to follow for some moves just to see how defenseless may black be left without the possibility of transferring the pieces to good defending squares and creating a good defending coordination. But let us go to the actual game. Back after bishop h5, g6, the compromising move, bishop g4 and bishop f8. As we had already said, the core of Anand's plan, just to be strong on black squares, and even if there's a big hole here, we have the knight that can be traded by any piece if necessary. But I think Anand here maybe expected h4, h5, and with the intention of Shirov slowly cracking the castling, but now is the good move, and this nuance of the position that distinguish good attacking players like Shirov from other players that just would recreate in the attack and will begin doing unnecessary moves or not getting a very good attack and allowing then black to have time to defend. f5, breaking without further loss of tempi. We can't, in this kind of positions, of course, we can't just sleep and waiting for black to die himself, because it's likely that the opposite would happen then. And f5 creates a very good outpost for the enemy, and it looks like it's compromising the position for white without creating a definitive attack. But let's see how things continue. F takes a6, f takes c6, and now we have a very good file to exploit for white.